Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's doing as well as they can. I have a few questions here from Marie Jose in Ottawa. And these questions are not simple questions, but I'm going to try and do the best I can with this and trying to give a flavor of how things work. And I'll read the questions first. Are some chakras dormant? If so, why? Can we assume that their waking up doesn't have anything to do with our personalities? And can we deduce from that, fortunately for us, that enlightenment doesn't happen because of us? Really interesting. Not too easy question. So the first one is, are some chakras dormant, and why? Well, by now, many of you have read an awful lot of material about the chakras. And to be honest, most of the material written about the chakras that material is usually based on sometimes individual experience and sometimes basically ideas that personalities are trying to make sense of. We're trying to make sense of how things might work. The Eastern background is very much involved with this, and because chakras were not really talked about too much in the West, except in the Hebrew background, and to some degree in the Muslim background, but not necessarily based on too much information, but based on some experiences and the use of these Sephirothic systems. And many of you have read stuff about this, and good, it's great. Makes this question a little bit easier, maybe. We have a dilemma in how we think of these chakras, or Sephiroth. Usually, prior to thinking about this, we come up with an idea, and this is pretty prevalent, that if these chakras all work together, you have reached a fairly high state of spirituality. This, unfortunately, isn't as true as it sounds, but in the parlance of normal folk like us, it seems to make some sense. How the chakras are set up is really to help us construct the personality at early levels of development. Like you and I after we're born and during the time that we're engaged in the womb, and then out of the womb, and then utilizing energy that we have at our capacity to handle the flavor of how our parental background is or is not. And through that system, begin to try and attempt to understand how to live on these planes. So then we begin to slowly understand that the personality is a tool to be utilized here on these planes for communication purposes and for activity and function on these levels. These planes are very much physical. Hold that in your mind for a minute. The link up is very much emotional and physical. This relates to energy. Physically, we are nothing but a bunch of cells, energetic forms that work together to create a system, a functional system, on these particular planes. Energy has to come from somewhere. It normally is considered to come from the root center, and often the will center, the gonad center. And for propagation of the species, and for an engagement with expression between people, and we have lots of that goes around. But it all relates to constructing a personality still. A form that through habit we engage with and construct and utilize intensity. Could be called emotion, could be called physical engagement, and often called mental as well, in a good way. So the key in these first levels is to have a functional personality, relatively speaking, that utilizes an aspect, physical aspect of the body, the emotions, and the will. And that means root, gonad, and solar plexus, at least at the bare bones level. So, after that, here comes the definition of what spiritual folks sometimes utter. If these centers have an opening in the heart, the throat, the brow, the crown centers, or any other aspect, as some call aspects of the throat elongated, could be called ultimajor centers, could be stimulate a number of small centers back behind the neck and above the head that link up with brow center. Okay, all right. Fundamental stuff, often considered like a row of beads. Not necessarily like that, but nonetheless considered that way. Experience in this level is not very high, so personality is used as a gauging form to imply some way that if you can allow yourself to recognize that energy is moving fairly physically up towards the top of the head, that you have somehow gained some access to a spiritual level. I'm not a real heavy-duty prescriber of that particular version, but it makes some sense. So the link up in itself makes you feel valued. I've met a number of people at this level, and I would say that that's the beginning of a second level engagement. The first, of course, is the cultivation of a personality. And energy from any level of that link up, wherever it may be. If you read enough books, you prefer to be thinking that it's the heart center or the brow or the throat or the crown or whatever, because we don't like it if it's only the bottom ones, because they're less than. This is how we talk in the early stages of actual experiential development. We're fundamentally, all of us, wishing to be thought of as valuable. Somehow our definitions get a little mixed up, and only these definitions are valuable, others are not. That's what we tend to do. Whatever the words are in there, fine. But they become stringent in their expression and vital to prove that we somehow are of greater value than other people. That is kind of inclusive of early levels of thinking, early levels of emotional engagement, early levels of physical, almost you can include parapsychological backgrounds in that particular form, because we often like to be thought of as being able to do something that others can't do. Well, that's fine, because that's early going. That's repetition of early engagement with how we think we need to be. And our world is filled with those examples. If you have a pot and someone else has a pot bigger than you, they're better than you because their pot is bigger than you. And I'm not talking the one in our physical body. I'm just talking a normal pot we put stuff in. It's amazing how that is. But nonetheless, we do this kind of thing, and we do that as reassurance to our personalized self, that this means that we are valuable, at least to some degree, and depending on how much emphasis you put on where you think your value is, that is supposed to mean you're more important than somebody else. It's not true, but it's a kind of an illusion that we have leaned on forever, and we battle nation against nation to prove that nation is better because they killed more people and had bigger guns and all the rest of this stuff. But we're talking about internal growth here. And the third level is extremely difficult for us. That third level, or rather just prior to that third level, we think that if we engage in a way that is different fundamentally, then we're superior to others. This is involved with baseball or sports, and really, I think it's there to reassure us that until we get to a point where we can understand that whole thing better, that these things need to nurture our relationship with life so that we feel comfortable and are comforted by the sense of value that we place upon ourselves. But that third level, that next level, no matter what you can do, whether it be in your body, out of your body, into another state, whatever, begins to help you to recognize that you are not in charge of this tool. Now, that's a terrible thing to recognize. So, if you ever get to that point, don't tell anybody, because they'll think you're a little weird. In our world, anything that doesn't comply with aligning with how the world is weird and not treated very well necessarily. So, if you ever reach that stage, keep it to yourself. The whole problem is, in the first at least couple of levels of engagement, you can't keep it to yourself, because personality is everything. Personality is a construct created for the purpose of being helpful as a form on these levels for a purpose that relates not to this level, but to a different level, to enable this level to begin to grow more. Well, that's how I see it, but that's not necessarily how the normal way of seeing things occurs. Not everybody thinks it that way. So let's get back to the chakras for a second, because the two of them are the same. if you shift levels in 1 or 2 or 3 years, 4 or 5 levels, depending on who's telling the story. See, if you shift levels in 5 levels, you're better if you only shifted than if you only shifted in 4. This same personality value thing is still profoundly important. And it's where we are, so you're going to hear lots of that as you grow, as anyone grows. But it's not as real as it appears to be from our particular position and place in relationship to how we function here. So, every single chakra has different levels of engagement. Certainly the first 3 levels are fiercely a part of the personalized version until a movement occurs within the chakra system that allows all of these 3 levels to materialize in other levels, other chakras. Even then, the personality tends to want to place itself in a position that relates to a functional superior being, whatever that means. But it really cannot tell the difference between the early levels, the middle levels, or the levels that begin to use the personality for a purpose that relates to the whole species without inflating the personality. So there is a system in place that many have used, and that system fundamentally is the observation, the learning how to observe how the habits of an individual have functioned and are functioning, not negating it, not judging it, not elevating it, not relating to it as superior, but just there. And it is a product of the past. And the past is every time you use those habitual processes or expressions of life, they're being underlined as more important. So, yes, so difficult to consider that you're just learning how to see, not learning how to judge and be kind of important because of what you're seeing. In fact, at that level, your personality interferes with everything that you see and attributes it to something that is valued by you and has been cultivated within you to be valued by you. And that's where we all are to some degree. And this is not a seeing. It's not seeing as things are necessarily, because we have difficulty allowing that to occur. We have to see through a grid or a film or a kind of a mask, or they used to call it a veil. We see through the veil of our own engagement with how we believe life is and how we believe we are without knowing how we are. So beginning to see is the first level of beginning to understand that it's not about the personality construct. even though in our world, this is the level of engagement that we aspire to attain, where we are in control of stuff and considered to be very valuable and important because it's you versus somebody else or others. And in fact, that is really very early going stuff. It is hard for us to understand that. And the chakras can open a little bit. But when they do, it instantly increases the intensity that you have already considered valuable, because it wants you to see, that flow wants you to see that this is just like early days. Well, then you have, how should it look when you're really valuable? I remember I went to many, many years ago, a group of people who were discussing how spiritual forms should be, and it was really based on the more powerful and profoundly expressive and vicious and intense that you were, the more valued and important you were. Didn't make any sense to me, but nonetheless, you can understand how that could be cultivated and developed in a world that really uses that kind of reference point to engage with the world that is keenly involved with that exact reference point. How important is that nation? Well, it's really important because you fill in the blanks. See if that's kind of a biased rendering based on principle that relates directly to how much power that nation has. Therefore, why should it not be the same in spiritual stuff? That question is hard to answer for most folk, even though it's not a verbal rendering of how soft or gentle you can be, because you can become an actor and try to work that one out. People will agree or not agree with you. It's how you can begin to not engage in your behavior that is normal to you as energy comes in to be helpful to others, comes in through the chakras as they develop beyond where they are now, so that you don't emphasize your personalization because you're learning how to pull back and watch. So we've been trying to take a look, perceive inside. This is a question that's hard. Inside, and just watch how you function. Watch how you engage and realize that you've been doing it a long time, so it's very difficult to do anything other than that. And that has been your baseline version of what is important to be like for the purpose that you rely on to give you comfort. That's a vulnerability that we all are a part of. And I am suggesting the possibility that the observation of it, and then attempting to utilize your personality the best you can to not necessarily agree with it, and catch it, slow it down, and never mind how important you are. Because you're really not that important when you're acting like a little kid. Now, having said that, I hardly have met anyone in my life, and I'm getting up there now, who have not acted like a little kid from time to time, especially if they don't get their way under certain circumstances. It's how the training that we have emphasizes the value of the early tribal engagement that we have with our family background. And if we didn't have that, we don't know another way of engaging and cultivating a personality that we need to use to engage with others. So it's complicated for us, because what we do is we try our best to cultivate some kind of way of thinking that enables us to be comfortable in our day-to-day, even if it's involved with spiritual stuff. We have to do this to appease our vulnerability, but we don't know we're doing it most of the time, and we don't care to know, because if we did know, there's an aspect in us that would try to soften it down, unless you utilize the idea that none of us have that much awareness or enough awareness to see it in others, especially see it in ourselves. I have to say this out loud. Nothing is hidden from those higher states. So you can fill the world with baloney. Higher states know that that's true. And if you don't much care about that, then you're still in early training. Well, maybe. But maybe also because you're considering it, maybe you're beginning to shift that early training just a little bit. Our habitual engagements are very, very strong. Our early supposition about how the world is, very, very strong. We're very much involved with pyramidal kind of thinking. We always have been. It's been the cause of so much turmoil and chaos. It will continue that way, because fundamentally, our personality has been constructed that way. So, not looking at it from a negative point of view, but we need to see that relative to us, because it's a blind spot. And you don't have to discuss that with anybody. It's something you see within yourself, and you respect the personality that you have, but you don't have to agree with it. It's okay if you allow yourself to do it less, do whatever that it is that you consider or see, because unfortunately, we don't see an awful lot. So, on the other hand, allowing ourselves to do it a little bit at a time helps us to understand that a little bit might be okay. A little bit of growth at a time. One of the biggest and most fundamental things that is so difficult for us, we talk about all these masters and able beings. And of course we like to consider ourselves as moving in a direction that might be considered something like that, but not in a way where no one knows that that's true. And that's how those higher state beings act. They don't want anybody to know. That's not the way we're brought up. And it's not related to our levels of vulnerability. We somehow think that if we are so-called better than everybody else, we get confused about people might love us more. And that's not real. They won't. And this is normal. They will be upset. And they will find something wrong. And there's always stuff to find. So in being involved with these centers, these chakras and sephiroths, these open relative to not our capacity only to handle them, but our capacity to soften down the personality enough so that energy can flow through it for a purpose that relates to a higher state. I think it's very hard. I think if we could write that down and repeat it over and over again, I think we would not get it with the clarity that perhaps is needed. Because there's still that little element of being valued because you can do this or you can do that. I think this is very hard for us. And I think maybe one day, because I have a great belief in the idea that we, as personalities in this level of function on a planet, have the ability to move into that second phase of level. Early going, we'll be really proud of that. Pride is not always bad. It's been significant in cultivating a personality that you can feel comfortable with. But the magnanimous aspects of it can be overpowering in our lives without our even seeing it. And then our so-called spiritual works, belief systems are fine. We do the best we can. And we continue to grow towards that time when those centers can be open more, chakras, sephiroths, to the point where energy can operate through. We see it. No one else may see it, but it's operating in a way that might be really helpful on these planes to help others begin to do the same thing. That's somewhat idealistic, one could say, but nonetheless, as that happens, even a little bit, you are being helpful. Beginning to be a little aware of that, not only aware of your ability to notice energy. It's like, we're all energy, so that's a beginning. But the ability to notice that energy is there, and is it you that's just seeing you, or are you watching something operate through you for the help of another? It is fundamentally difficult to stop yourself from trying to override, because it's not giving you enough juice, not giving you enough importance, the idea of having energy operate through you for the purpose of having it know what's important. Because in the parapsychological background, it is you cultivate the movement of that energy so other people can know that you're doing something. That's a personality format. And that is part of that second level of growth. And that is something we will all have to go through. feeling comfortable for having been in that situation, you can feel as if you're valuable. It's still part of the business of being comforted. Even through that, at times, those higher states can operate through to be helpful to others. But it's not coming from you. It's coming through you. This is something that some will have a tendency to believe, that it could happen like that. Others, not so much, because they'll be determined, since they haven't had enough value in their lives, that more value is necessary to make them feel comfortable. There's not a negative thing in that. That's how we all engage with life. So if you can play the piano, for example, for your own self, and then you're still not going to get invited to a concert hall to play a concerto, for example. But maybe it's okay that that doesn't happen. Maybe you enjoy playing the piano, chopsticks, or whatever it is. But know that that's true. Don't add anything. Don't take anything away. Be happy with that. And it's okay. This is a difficult area for all of us. I mean, this first and second questions, they're hard. But I've tried to answer the three of them in my own way, and I know I've left some stuff out. But there is one thing for sure. If all of those centers were on as much as they could be, we couldn't handle it. It's just too much. Because we would see beyond our belief system. We would see beyond what we think is really there in us or in the universe. We would be compelled to attempt to run or hide from what we saw. And that would not be a wrong thing, because we're not quite ready for that kind of engagement. That's why we spend so long in periods of time, in areas of growth, so that we can feel more comfortable in them. Don't be negating yourself for that. None of us are able to see beyond the handling of clarity at that level that we can be okay with. Go slow with that. Don't beat yourself up, and for heaven's sake, try not to elevate yourself, because it's like a wrapping around the same kind of thing, and it's hard to let go of it. Be respectful of others and their growth. And be respectful in a kind of a way of what you can see within yourself. But there's always more. Meaning what? It's a good question. It means if you begin to actually perceive, you will see, relative to your early trainings, version of how you should deal with those things you see. And that's uncomfortable. You'll judge stuff. Or if you have to elevate yourself, you'll elevate whatever you do as important, and think no one else can see it. But that's not true. So go slow. Be kind to others and be kind to you. Has to be sincere. That sincerity opens up an aspect of you that goes beyond your personalization. And your willingness to be honest and sincere in your seeing and go slow, gently, will enable you to understand deeper, with more compassion, how others function to the edge of their ability and their boundaries that allow them to function as an individual here on this plane. There's all kinds of stuff that folks can't handle too much of. And fear. Fear that you're not accepted. Higher states, in my opinion, you have to think this through for yourself. I think are not higher states if they can't see into you and understand that you're doing the best you can, and aspects of you don't want to do any better. They want to remain at a level of personal engagement or engorgement. This is fundamental on our planes. Don't say you don't have it. Find out where you do and start laughing. Oh, I got it. Oh, I got another one. Oops. Oh, there's another place. So what? Your neighbors have it, and your friends have it. Your loved ones have it. And go slow and be respectful of your growing process. Little at a time really does work. And I know we ought to jump in there and be the first one to get to the finish line. Another thing, there's no finish line. There's more to know. And everything is preparation for the next step. It's so wonderful to recognize that. It takes a lot of pressure off of you. But don't worry about the pressure. Other people will put it on you in their own way, because it's the nature of all our upbringing, kind of. I think I got it all. Let me take a look. Very difficult question, Marie, but hopefully. No, I think I said all chakras are dormant. Nobody wants to hear that one. Even as they link up all together, they're still dormant to a very large degree. We continue to grow, and they start opening a little bit more and more and more. Then we start to get fundamentally, somehow we get ideas about the fact that, oh, I don't have to push so hard. Oh, let me pull back. Ah, okay. Well, that's a trick. If I pull back, more happens. If I soften down, I become gentler. Or in a way, I see more. And that's uncomfortable. So I need time to be more comfortable in relationship to that seeing. Little at a time. Very helpful, because as you become a little bit more comfortable, more awareness, in a gentle way, in a subtle way, you can begin to see beyond your personality's version of value, intensity. And that is uncomfortable from time to time. So I wish everybody tremendously well on this one. If I see other things that I've left out, I think in our world, how can I put this? Having a pathway open to the top of your head is really important. It's been a version of attainment that is recognized by others over the millennium. But often it's not even noticed by others. And what we're trying to do is to have a little bit more awareness so you can begin to notice it in you by watching that energy in you and begin to soften down the business of thinking it's the final order, because it's only a beginning. And as these energies, these chakras open a little bit more and they blend at a broader level, the personality takes a step back instead of a step forward. And it's very hard to understand why it would do that unless you understand that the personality is just an energy form. It's all it is that we utilize mostly ongoing but reflexively with respect to how it's being trained in us, and also how we assess how much value that it has. And because this is the norm on these levels, we will stick with that norm for quite a while, because it seems to be helping us to prepare for something that is difficult for us to move, beyond that personalization. And it's more like a fusion or a synthesis. We have moments when we need that. We have moments when we don't. We have moments when we engage differently. And it's these moments come together for purposes beyond the personality styles version of what has to be true. This one's tough for us. And we can only most often guess it's guesswork until it's not. Or we vitalize our position in place. And that's actually, in a kind of a way, the exact opposite to what an engagement with a higher state might be. I think we should meditate now. Thank you for the questions. Always happy to have more. And I'll do what I can, best I can with those. So we'll meditate now, and I wish everyone well. Have a good evening. And I'll come back to just verbally close things off.
रत्नैः कल्पितमासनं हिमजलैः स्नानं च दिव्याम्बरम् नानारत्नविभूषितं मृगमदा मोदाङ्कितं चन्दनम् जातिचम्पकबिल्वपत्ररचितं पुष्पं च धूपं तथा दीपं देवदयानिधे पशुपते हृत्कल्पितं गृह्यताम् सौवर्णेन नवरत्नखण्डरचिते पात्रे घृतं पायसम् भक्ष्यं पञ्चविधं पयोदधियुतं रम्भाफलं पानकम् शाकानामयतं जलं रुचिकरं कर्पूरखण्डोज्ज्वलम् ताम्बूलं मनसा मया विरचितं भक्त्या प्रभो स्वीकुरु छत्रं चामरयोर्युगं व्यजनकं चादर्शकं निर्मलम् वीणाभैरिमृदङ्गकोहलकला गीतं च नृत्यं तथा साष्टाङ्गं प्रणतिः स्तुतिर्बहुविधा एतत् समस्तं मया संकल्पेन समर्पितं तव विभो पूजां गृहाण प्रभो आत्मा त्वं गिरिजामते सहचराः प्राणाः शरीरं ग्रहम् पूजा ते विषयोपभोगरचना निद्रा समाधिस्थितिः सञ्चारः पदयोः प्रदक्षिणविधि स्तोत्राणि सर्वा गिरो यत् कर्म करोमि तत् अखिलम् शम्भो तवाराधनम् करचरणकृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवणनयनजं वा मानसं वापराधम् विहितमविहितं वा सर्वमेतच्छमस्व जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शम्भो माता न बन्धुर्न दाता न पुत्रो न पुत्री न भृत्यो न भर्ता न जाया न वेद्या न वृत्तिर्ममैव गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि भवाब्धावपारे महादुःखभीरो प्रपात प्रकामी प्रलोभी प्रमत्ता कुसंसारपाश प्रबद्धः सदाहम् गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि न जानामि दानं न च ध्यानयोगम् न जानामि तन्त्रं न च स्तोत्रमन्त्रम् न जानामि पूजां न च न्यासयोगम् गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि न जानामि पुण्यं न जानामि तीर्थम् न जानामि मुक्तिं लयं वा कदाचित् न जानामि भक्तिं व्रतं वापि माता गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि कुकर्मी कुसङ्गी कुबुद्धि कुदास कुलाचारहीन कदाचारलीन कुदृष्टि कुवाक्य प्रबन्ध सदाहम् गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी प्रजेशं रमेशं महेशं सुरेशं दिनेशं निशीथेश्वरं वा कदाचित् न जानामि चान्यत् सदाहं शरण्ये गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी विवादे विषादे प्रमादे प्रवासे जले चानले पर्वते शत्रुमध्ये अरण्ये शरण्ये सदा मां प्रपाहि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी अनाथो दरिद्रो जरारोगयुक्तो महाक्षीणदीन सदा जाड्यवक्त्रा विपत्तौ प्रविष्ट प्रणष्ट सदाहं गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका शिवस्वरूपोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवस्वरूपोऽहम् नित्योऽहं शुद्धोऽहं बुद्धोऽहं मुक्तोऽहं नित्योऽहं शुद्धोऽहं बुद्धोऽहं मुक्तोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवस्वरूपोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवस्वरूपोऽहम् नित्योऽहं शुद्धोऽहं बुद्धोऽहं मुक्तोऽहं नित्योऽहं शुद्धोऽहं बुद्धोऽहं मुक्तोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवस्वरूपोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवस्वरूपोऽहम् अद्वैतमानन्द रूपं अरूपम् अद्वैतमानन्द रूपं अरूपम् ब्रह्मोऽहं ब्रह्मोऽहं ब्रह्मस्वरूपोऽहम् ब्रह्मोऽहं ब्रह्मोऽहं ब्रह्मस्वरूपोऽहम् चिदोऽहं चिदोऽहं सच्चिदानन्दोऽहं चिदोऽहं चिदोऽहं सच्चिदानन्दोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवस्वरूपोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवस्वरूपोऽहम् मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कार चित्तानि नाहं न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमिर्न तेजो न वायु चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायु न वा सप्तधातु न वा पञ्चकोश न वाक्पाणिपादं न चोपस्तपायु चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न मे द्वेषरागो न मे लोभमोहो मदोर्नैव मे नैव मात्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञः अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न मृत्युर्न शङ्का न मे जातिभेदः पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न बन्धो न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् सर्वेन्द्रियाणां न च सङ्गतं नैव मुक्तिर्न मेया चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहम् ब्रह्ममुरारिसुरार्चितलिङ्गं निर्मलभासितशोभितलिङ्गम् जन्मज दुःखविनाशकलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् देवमुनि प्रवरार्चितलिङ्गम् कामदहन करुणाकरलिङ्गम् रावणदर्पविनाशनलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् सर्वसुगन्धिसुलेपितलिङ्गम् बुद्धिविवर्धनकारणलिङ्गम् सिद्धसुरासुरवन्दितलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् कनकमहामणिभूषितलिङ्गम् फणिपतिवेष्टितशोभितलिङ्गम् दक्षसुयज्ञविनाशकलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् कुङ्कुमचन्दनलेपितलिङ्गम् पङ्कजहारसुशोभितलिङ्गम् शिवलिङ्गम् सञ्चितपापविनाशकलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् देवगणार्चितसेवितलिङ्गम् भावैर्भक्तिभिरेव च लिङ्गम् दिनकरकोटिप्रभाकरलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् अष्टदलोपरिवेष्टितलिङ्गम् सर्वसमोद्भवकारणलिङ्गम् अष्टदरिद्रविनाशकलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् सुरगुरुसुरवरपूजितलिङ्गम् सुरवनपुष्पसदार्चितलिङ्गम् परमपदं परमात्मकलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम्
And now we'll just begin to do the balancing and the grounding on your own. And take care, everybody. Good night.